Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. So, I have been playing quite a lot of competitive recently. For those of you who don't know, I recently finished my placement matches. I am painfully average, but I'm actually quite pleased by it. I placed literally just shy of platinum. I think I'm 2471. But basically, I main support, so I main mostly Zenyatta is pretty much predominantly over 50% of my playtime, but then I also play quite a bit Mercy, Lucio, and occasionally dab into tanking with, well, not really tanking, I guess, but with, I do play quite a bit of Winston. And obviously, since the recent changes with Mercy, and the fact is that, you know, you less, and I haven't actually seen one since, in fact, but you're less likely to actually get play of the game from a multi-ran res. It got me thinking about the whole premise of play of the game as a function. Now, I'm treading on quite old ground here. We've kind of talked about the the pros and cons of just play of the game as a thing, but also who deserves play of the game tends to come up quite a lot. And generally, no one can really decide. Often it comes down to just us being a teeny bit salty over the fact that that fucking Reaper got another play of the game for Death Blossom, or, you know, when the game dropped, that asshole Bastion got play of the game because no one knew how to counter him. Anyway, and I got thinking about, okay, how can we change this? But also, because as a support, right, I obviously rarely get play of the game. But especially as well as when I've played Winston, because I obviously like to use Winston to actually kind of attack the back line, and maybe not even actually technically kill anyone, but just especially using his Primal Rage to just kind of basically fuck up everyone's day. It's good fun. But also then Zarya as well is another one where you effectively set up people's play of the games, but you don't obviously end up getting the credit. I mean, you do in the sense of your teammates do know about it, and they're not exactly so, well, not always so bone idle as to assume that, oh yeah, that was totally my epic gameplay that got that, not just the fact that you literally pulled all of the enemy team into a nice spot and then I massacred them. But anyway, so my thought was actually, rather than having play of the game focusing on one player, all sorts of stress as well, if I could mention this, but like some people tend to forget that play of the game is play of the game, not player of the game. And focusing on the play is what I think is really important. And the fact is that rather than having it as just one player's most, because that's what play of the game is, it's one player's biggest impact of the game. Instead, we should do a group play of the game. Now, obviously I've heard this kind of mentioned in form before, but not in my exact way. So the way you could do it, my idea is, the fact is you could still have the person who basically, the Reaper who did the Death Blossom still gets his highlight intro come up. Because obviously, ultimately, you should still reward the person single out greatness, or pressing Q at the right time. That's just me being a cynical support. As I know this for a fact, because I tried to play Reaper the other day, when he racked up a few hours, and I managed to kill a total of 2 people with Death Blossom because I kept getting killed before it went off. But it would still single out that person, but at the same time, what if we could have it is that, so it shows the highlight intro of the person who actually did the most, but then it cycles through the players. So the idea, they could still, I think they should maybe have a little bit more criteria, so it needs to be 2 or more players. So that's how they decide it. They find an instance in the game where 2 or more players achieved something amazing. I don't know exactly the exact method they used to determine. I don't think we know entirely, but it generally, I think the theory is that a combination of actions per, how many actions were actually achieved, but also it combined with deaths and also maybe a notable push of the payload. But they could do it, just another caveat where it has to be 2 or more players, and then have it cycle through, because I think it would, well, firstly, it would just be nice to see that, okay, and it would cycle through it would rank them, 1, 2, 3, say, it would just cycle through the top 3 or 4 players, or maybe even cycle through them quicker, perhaps, if there are kind of like everyone's involved in that kind of little area. So outside of that would obviously be grand, because, for the healers who are basically, keeping you alive so you could actually achieve that well-timed ult, but also the Zarya for setting you up, the Winston for, keeping all of those irritating squishies off your back. But also as well, I think really 2 important things. Firstly, the fact is that on the kind of lower level play, so or lower level or average, painfully average, as I've already established with me, it would actually it would kind of encourage a little bit more cohesiveness, in the sense of it would just remind you would, because not everyone's going to be on YouTube, on Reddit, reading all the guides, reading what the current meta is, you're reading what the do's and don'ts are. And being able to see highlights at the end of each match, saying, okay, right, they destroyed my team because they did X, Y, and Z. And then, even though maybe that person's proactive looking at guides like the rest of us, they're still being reminded, yeah, dude, this is a team game, and you need to do team shit. Look at how glorious that group of 3 or 4 people were, and they'll be like, okay, this is cool. And they'll even maybe see, wow, that hero that I don't play very well is actually doing pretty good and worked really well with that hero. And it will just kind of help in that way. But also as well, and I think that would be the most important thing. But then on the more pro level play, it'd be really cool just to see, because obviously the synergy between much more experienced, kind of diamond tier and above players, in terms of, what they're doing to pick apart your defense. How you just couldn't take that point back, that kind of thing. It'd be really, really interesting. And also, for those of you who, spend a lot of the time on Reddit, think of the karma bait. Holy shit. You think that awesome hook headshot with Widowmaker is going to be sexy. Imagine that complete, just perfectly timed ult karma. Oh, those are beautiful upvotes. Anyway, that's my idea for it. I think that would be really, really cool. They've probably considered it, to be fair. I'm pretty sure I read a rock, paper, shotgun article once where they mentioned it should be just 2 people. It's like, no, I want a whole group. But this is my reasoning. I think it would be a great idea. This is also my pros completely. I guess the con maybe is the fact is that you wouldn't be as a special snowflake, and it might be possibly hard to actually implement in the game. We don't really know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And when I say your thoughts, I mean, what are your thoughts on alternatives to play the game as a function, or different ways to do it, not just, I'm really fucking sick of seeing Reaper, because we're all sick of seeing Reaper, yeah. Stupid edgelord face that I can't play properly. Anyway, I love you all. I have a Fallout video up tomorrow. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. We'll see I'm up to. Hear me progressively get really angry over the fact that I'm going to probably end up losing my ranking very quickly. Anyway, I'll talk to you other people soon. Take care.